Imagine a world where hope is a distant dream, where walls of stone hold stories of despair, pain, and unexpected friendship. The Shawshank Redemption begins in 1947, with Andy Dufresne, a successful banker, whose life takes a dark turn when he is falsely convicted of murdering his wife and her lover. Sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms, Andy is sent to Shawshank State Penitentiary, a prison infamous for its corruption, brutality, and hopelessness. As he arrives, the grim reality of Shawshank becomes apparent. Guards wield power like gods, and inmates are trapped in a cycle of violence and despair. But within this darkness, Andy's calm demeanor and quiet intelligence hint that he is different. Andy faces immediate challenges: intimidation, threats, and the ever-present fear of the notorious Captain Hadley. Yet, through cleverness and quiet resilience, he gradually earns the respect of some inmates. Early on, Andy befriends Ellis "Red" Redding, a lifer who is known for smuggling contraband. Red narrates the story, offering insight into Shawshank and the rare glimmers of hope that survive there. Andy's calm, polite demeanor and unwavering sense of self-interest in learning allow him to navigate prison life. He begins to understand the dynamics of power within Shawshank, realizing that knowledge and patience are more powerful than anger or violence. Life in Shawshank is harsh, yet Andy slowly finds purpose. He offers his financial expertise to the corrupt warden and prison guards, helping them shelter their ill-gotten gains. This earns him protection and privileges that many inmates can only dream of. Beyond survival, Andy's humanity shines. He helps the prison library grow, educates fellow inmates, and inspires them to dream of something beyond the prison walls. One of the most iconic moments occurs when Andy plays Mozart's The Marriage of Figaro over the loudspeakers. I imagine a world where hope is a distant dream, where walls of stone hold stories of. But Shawshank is not a place of easy victories. Corruption, brutality, and tragedy strike repeatedly. Andy witnesses friends suffer, and the oppressive forces of the warden and guards continually threaten his life and spirit. Despite these challenges, Andy maintains his dignity and hope. His quiet acts of resistance, helping others, quietly planning, and never losing his integrity, set him apart. Red continues to observe Andy, noting that hope is a dangerous thing in Shawshank. Yet Andy seems to embody it effortlessly. The story takes a heart-wrenching turn with the tragic fate of some inmates, reminding everyone that Shawshank can crush even the strongest spirit. Yet Andy persists, secretly working on a plan that will eventually change everything. After nearly 2 decades of meticulous planning, Andy finally executes his escape. He crawls through a sewage pipe, emerging into the cleansing rain of freedom, a symbolic baptism, washing away the years of imprisonment and despair. Andy's escape is not just a physical act, but a triumph of patience, intelligence, and unyielding hope. He leaves behind evidence of the warden's corruption, ensuring justice is served and those who tormented him face consequences. Meanwhile, Red is finally granted parole. At first, the world outside feels alien and harsh, but he remembers Andy's words. Hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things. Guided by this hope, Red follows a trail left by Andy to a picturesque beach in Zihuatanejo, Mexico. The reunion is emotional, a promise fulfilled, a dream realized, and a life renewed. The Shawshank Redemption is more than a prison story. It is a story of hope, resilience, and the human spirit. It reminds us that even in the darkest places, hope can survive. Andy Dufresne shows that patience, intelligence, and integrity can overcome injustice, while Red's journey illustrates that the human spirit can heal and find free. But Shawshank is not a place of easy victories. Corruption, brutality. Use pauses at emotional moments, like the Mozart scene, Andy's escape, Red's reunion. Speak slowly during dramatic sections to create suspense and engagement. You can split it into parts for recording to maintain energy for a 30-minute narration. Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption is a realist novella by Stephen King. It was first published in 1982 by Viking Press in his collection Different Seasons. It was later included in the 2009 collection Stephen King Goes to the Movies. The plot follows former bank vice president Andy Dufresne, who is wrongly convicted of murdering his wife and her lover, and ends up in Shawshank State Penitentiary, where corruption and violence are rampant. Stephen King described Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption as a prison escape story in the vein of old Warner Brothers films. The work, written in a genre unusual for King, is considered one of his best works. The story was adapted to film in 1994 by Frank Darabont. The film, The Shawshank Redemption, was nominated for 7 Academy Awards in 1994, including Best Picture, and has been regarded as one of the best films of all time. The main roles were played by Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman. In 2009, the story was adapted for the stage as The Shawshank Redemption. The story takes place in Maine and is told from the perspective of Shawshank State Prison inmate Ellis Redding, a 57-year-old Irish-American. In 1938, Red staged a car accident, having previously insured his wife for a large amount, but a neighbor and her child also got into his wife's car. As a result, Red was sentenced to 3 life sentences for the murders. Red is known for his ability to smuggle in almost any contraband via his connections. In 1948, he is approached by former bank vice president Andy Dufresne, a prisoner who arrived at Shawshank a year earlier. Dufresne was sentenced to life imprisonment for the murder of his wife and her lover, despite his claims of innocence. He asks Red to get him a rock. In 1948, he is approached by former bank vice president Andy Dufresne, a prisoner who arrived at Shawshank a year earlier. Dufresne was sentenced to life imprisonment for the murder of his wife and her lover, despite his claims of innocence. He asks Red to get him a rock hammer, explaining that he is collecting minerals. A year later, Andy requests a large poster of Rita Hayworth. He gets into several fights with a gang of prison rapists led by Boggs Diamond, which end after Boggs is severely injured by the guards. Red suggests that Andy bribed the guards into doing so. One day, Andy overhears guard Byron Hadley complaining about the tax imposed on an inheritance he had recently received, and offers help in resolving this issue. Hadley accepts the offer and treats all the prisoners to beer in gratitude. Over the years, Andy provides financial advice to the prison administration and assists with tax returns and loans. He is transferred to the prison library, in which he launders money for the prison administration. He also seeks funding from the Maine Senate to expand the library, which he hopes will better prepare prisoners for life after release. Andy meets Tommy Williams, who tells him that his cellmate from another prison bragged about committing the murders that Andy was convicted of. Andy attempts to use Tommy's testimony to get his case reconsidered, but the warden, Samuel Norton, does not grant his freedom, as Andy knows too much about the administration's money laundering scheme and is too valuable as an accountant to release. Hoping to break Andy's spirit, Norton places him in solitary confinement for 20 days and transfers Tommy to another prison. While in confinement, Andy refuses to continue accounting, but complies when Norton threatens to worsen his living conditions and destroy the library. In October 1967, Andy tells Red about Peter Stevens, a pseudonym under which Andy had sold off his assets and invested the proceeds. He says that one day Peter imagine a world where hope is a distant dream, where walls of stone hold stories of despair, pain, and unexpected friendship. The Shawshank Redemption begins in 1947, with Andy Dufresne, a successful banker, whose life takes a dark turn when he is falsely convicted of murdering his wife and her lover. Sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms, Andy is sent to Shawshank State Penitentiary, a prison infamous for its corruption, brutality, and hopelessness. As he arrives, the grim reality of Shawshank becomes apparent. Guards wield power like gods, and inmates are trapped in a cycle of violence and despair. But within this darkness, Andy's calm demeanor and quiet intelligence hint that he is different. Andy faces immediate challenges: intimidation, threats, and the ever-present fear of the notorious Captain Hadley. Yet, through cleverness and quiet resilience, he gradually earns the respect of some inmates. Early on, Andy befriends Ellis Redding, a lifer who is known for smuggling contraband. Thrilling journey through Hampton International, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more full story breakdowns of your favorite series.